Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. I'm in my 2018 Tesla Model 3 Long Range Rear-Wheel Drive. I've actually owned this for about 3 weeks now. I originally bought this car because it had the full self-driving capability on it, and I bought a new Model Y, and I took off the full self-driving package from this car, added it to my new Y. And this is the first Model 3 that I've owned, and it's actually been a really fun car to drive. It's great, it's comfortable, it's easy to drive, it's quick. There's a lot to like about this car. And so in this video, what I want to do is, this is kind of an extra car I have right now. I'm kind of in the process of toying with the idea of selling it, but I kind of want to keep it a little longer and just kind of enjoy the car a little bit because it is a nice car. This video, guys, what I want to do is I want to do a video where I just go over some of the basics, the Tesla basics. And the reason this came up is my in-laws, my wife's parents, live close to us. They're on their way out of town and in a few days, and they had a nail in the side of their tire, and I've helped them with that in the past, like find a tire that like matches the tread depth of the other ones, and so they don't have to buy a whole new set of tires, and we're not going to get the used tire in time before their trip. And so I said, hey guys, I have this Model 3, it's just sitting in my garage, you guys can take it and use it. I even have free supercharging on this car, and I have it because a few weeks ago when I bought my Model Y, Tesla was doing a promotion where they gave 5,000 free miles of supercharging credits or something like that. So I have some free supercharging on my Tesla account. This car is tied to that account, and so what I'm doing in this video is I want to just go through the basics. So it's like I want to do a video for them because they've ridden in our cars before, they've ridden in a Tesla, but they've never driven one, and they don't, like, if you've never driven a Tesla before, you've never done like the supercharging or charging it or road trips, I want to do just a basic video. So if you're a Tesla expert, you know, this might just be elementary, this may not be very exciting for you, but if you're considering a Tesla or you're new to a Tesla or you're curious, this is some basic information that might be helpful to give you some information on what to do, how to use it, some basic operations, road trip, supercharging, all that. So let's get into it. Now for starters, this car, it's a 2018 Model 3 Long Range Rear-Wheel Drive. When it was new, it had a range of around 325 miles. It has about 78,000 miles on it, and it's, you know, almost 6 years old. And so the range right now is just under 300 miles. Like, let's just say 295 miles is like kind of the stated range of what it could do on a full charge. So this thing is great. This thing would be a great road trip car. With this being rear-wheel drive, it's got good efficiency. It's comfortable. It has autopilot, so it's going to like stay in its lane. It's going to adaptive cruise. So what I want to do right now, I want to show you just kind of how the road trips work. We're going to go to a supercharger. I want to show you first off how a supercharger works, and then how you navigate to them, how you find chargers along the way. And then while we're at the supercharger, we'll go through some of the screens, the operations, and some things to consider. So when you're traveling to a supercharger, you want to make sure that you're navigating to the supercharger. So right now I'm navigating with, even if you know how to get there, it's best to navigate there because see here it shows that it's preconditioning the battery for fast charging. If you get to the supercharger and the battery isn't fully warmed up to the optimal temperature, it won't charge as fast as it can. And ideally you want to limit the time at the superchargers as much as possible. So the battery will continue to heat up until I get there. I only have about 8 minutes until I get there, but and then once I get there, it'll be able to charge at the optimal speeds. Alright, so I just pulled in the supercharger here. Most superchargers are back in, so you have to back in, and then you're going to use the one that's on your driver's side because the charging port is right here on the driver's side. Let me just show you how simple it is to plug in. So the charging cord is right here. It's hanging up here. You just pull it down. If you hold the button down, it opens your charging door. When it's white, you can insert the plug. You just insert it, and it'll start charging. Okay, now this might happen if you're at see this warning I got right here? It says high usage supercharge station. So if you're at a station that's like busy, that's probably got like most of the stalls filled, what'll happen is if you just go to the home button here on the vehicle and then just go into charging, it'll pull up the charging screen. This is where you can adjust how much your car charges up. So green is how much battery you already have in the car. So I already have probably I probably have just under 60% battery. I can adjust this all the way to 100%. So I can adjust that up to 100%, down to 80, whatever. But if you have it set at 100% and you pull into the supercharger and it's a busy supercharger, it will automatically drop it to 80%. You can increase it if you need to. Like if you really need to get to 90% or 95%, you can just drag that back up there to 100% or 95%, and it'll charge up to that. Now, because I just adjusted it to 100%, it's going to show this is the charging rate. That's how many miles per hour I'm getting, how many miles have been added so far, and then 45 minutes will remain for this to get to 100%. If I adjust the charging back to, let's say, 80%, okay, that's adjusted back down to 80%. Now this will adjust how quickly that's going to get up to. 13 minutes is all it's going to take to get to 80%. So it takes a lot longer to charge the car past 80%. And so ideally what you want to do is, instead of waiting 45 minutes at the supercharger, we just charge to 80%, and then we move down the road to the next charging station, that's maybe 100 to 120 miles away, because we only have to wait 13 minutes here. If we waited to 100%, we'd have to wait 45 minutes, and when we get to the next one, we might only have 10% battery. We can charge back up to 80% within 15-20 minutes. So that's why you're really only living off of the bottom 80% of your battery, because it's just so much better and quicker to charge up to 80%. You can see the difference in charging times. Now on the Tesla app, you're able to see the same thing as you're able to see on the charging screen. So you don't have to come back in the car to see where you're at. You just open up the app. You're able to change the charging limit. You can see, really what's going on, how many kilowatts you're charging at, how many miles have been added. You can also see how many minutes are remaining to your charge limit. Now, if you're navigating to a destination and you stopped at a charger to just charge up to go on to your next destination, it'll tell you like 15 or 20 more minutes to get to your destination. So it's helpful to have the app kind of up and available, because it has a lot of great features that you can check and monitor the charging of the car on. So on the navigation screen here, you can see a map here. How you find charging locations, if you're not navigating on a road trip, for example, if you're just in an area and you want to find where the charger's at, just tap on the right side of the screen here. Okay, on the right side of the screen, if you just tap there, there's a little charging icon, that little lightning bolt icon. You tap on that. It's going to show the red dots are the superchargers. Okay. The 3 lightning bolt, meaning this is filtering by the fastest charger. So that's what you want to leave on that. If you go to 1 lightning bolt and you deselect the 3, it'll show destination chargers. So that's going to be like, so this is only showing like destination chargers. This is like overnight charging. You can see 16 kilowatts. They're not very fast. These are like hotels, like that would have charging. So you don't want to look at that when you're looking at when you're looking for fast charging. I want to deselect that. I only want to see the 3 lightning bolt chargers. So you can see here the red dots are the charging stations, and it kind of ranks them closest to you to furthest away. You can also see the kilowatts. See, this says 150, 75, 250, 250. You want to go to 250 kilowatt chargers. Those are going to be the fastest chargers. Avoid 75s, avoid the 150s if you can. Now, if you see one on the map here, you can touch on it. The number in the red circle there is the amount of charging stalls available. So if I touch on this one, it shows how many stalls are available. If I push the arrow right here, that'll help me, that'll navigate to that location. So that's how you find charging in your destination when you're looking for places to fast charge the car. Now, when you're on a road trip and you're traveling long distances, the car will calculate where it needs to stop. So if I put in here, for example, I'm in Salt Lake City right now. If I want to travel to Las Vegas, which is 375 miles away, it will calculate the charging stops that I need to stop at for how long. And so this is showing that I can make it to this location with 33%, charge for 50 minutes, and then go to this location for 35 minutes, and then I'll arrive at my location. Now, there are a couple chargers between here. If I didn't want to have to charge for 50 minutes, I could only charge for 30 minutes, go to one before, kind of in between there. But usually, if you just stick with what the car recommends, that is going to be safest. The percentage here, 34%, 17%, is the amount of battery you're going to have when you arrive at that location. So when I get to this location, I'll have 34%. When I get to this location, I'll have 17%. When I get to my final destination, I'll have 17%. I will need to find charging there, so I can either search the area for charging like I just showed. The charging screen, it does show how much it's costing. This is a little more expensive, a charger, 42 cents per kilowatt hour. Shows how many kilowatts I've gained total, and then my session costs $8.40 total. There is an idle fee, 50 cents a minute. So that just means the idle fee means once your car is 100% charged or charged up to the limit you've set and you're not charging, they want you to move your car. They don't want you to sit here idle and take up a spot when someone else could be using it. So they encourage you to move your car as soon as it's done charging. Otherwise, they're going to charge you 50 cents a minute if you stay here after your car is done charging. All right, so here's another reason why you don't want to charge to 100% at a supercharger. So I'm about 93% battery right now. I have my charge limit set to 100, and look how slow it's charging. 16 kilowatts is the charging speed right now, which is 55 miles an hour. I mean, when the battery's at 10%, it charges at 250 kilowatts, and so that's why it's really not wise to charge to 100% here at the supercharger. It's just not feasible. It's not a good use of your time just to sit here and let it charge up to 100%, because it's going to take an extra 20-30 minutes to even do that. All right, when you're ready to unplug at the supercharger, you just come here, you just push the button down, and when it turns white, you just pull out the plug, and then there's a little notch on the bottom here that just rests in there like that, and we're ready to head out. All right, let's go over the basic operations of the car. The car does come with a key. If you're borrowing the car, it is best to have the person allow you to have access to the car via the app. So what I would do is I would just have, like, my in-laws create an account, Tesla account. I can send them access to the car. They can download the app and they can have access to this. So that way they can have all functionality of the app. But the key can be used also. The key is just right below the camera here. Is how you open the car. You see that the door handles, how they open up, push in, and then pull the handle. And then if you only have the key to start the car, you just push it, tap the key right here behind the cup holders. That turns the car on. You're able to drive just fine. It is best to keep the car key with you at all times, so that way if something ever happens, if your phone dies, you lose Bluetooth connectivity, you're able to still get into the car. All right, the basic functions driving the car, let me just show you here. When you have the door closed, open the door, you just push this little button right here. That just pops the door open, you open it up. You've got window switches here. There is an emergency, kind of a backup release. This little, you see that kind of opens up. Manual door release. That will open up if somehow the button stops working or the power comes out. The power's out. So you simply just put your foot on the brake, and then this is the accelerator. So the brake, the car is started up. To go into drive, if you can see here, this is very simple. Like most cars, drive is all the way down. When you go into drive, it shows drive up here, D. And then neutral would just be one click up. Reverse would be a full click up like that. Park, you just push in the end right there. Now you might notice there's a little symbol here that indicates cruise control. So when you're in drive and you want to activate the autopilot or cruise control or full self-driving for that matter, you do that by pushing this down. So you're in drive, so I'm in drive right now. I push this down and that activates the full self-driving. Now on this car, I have it set up to where you have to push this down twice to activate autopilot. So once down is for cruise control, twice down activates auto steer, where the car will keep itself in its own lane, adaptive cruise. And then when you want to get out of that, you either put your foot on the brake or you just lift up once like that, like you're going up into drive. You don't have to click it up, just one tap up cancels that out. When you're in cruise control, this is how you change the speed. So forward, this is how you increase the set speed. Down is how you decrease the set speed. These arrows over will increase or decrease the following distance, the distance that you're following the car in front of you. This is your radio controls, so volume up, volume down, and then forward, back on the tracks. That's how you do that. All of the climate control, you just touch on the temperature right here. I usually keep it on auto, so if you just keep it on auto, you can just set the temperature here and it just will automatically adjust the temperature. It will automatically turn on the air conditioner if needed. You can adjust the airflow by up, down. So if you don't want it right in your face, you can have it kind of go to the side of you. You can have it go higher, lower. Same thing with the passenger side here. You also, under the temperature or the climate control, is where you control the heated seats. So 3. Once you turn them on, you have to touch it 3 times to turn it off. Or you can put it on auto where it will just stay warm, turn on when needed, and it won't get too hot. This has the rear. This has all 3 heated seats in the rear as well. So this is where you turn them all on or off. You can do all off right here. Now, one thing that's cool with Tesla, this is what's true with all their cars, they have voice command for all functions. So if you just touch in the scroll wheel, push in the scroll wheel, it's when you can do a voice command. So if I say, turn on all rear heated seats, see how they're all on? Now I can go, turn off all heated seats, and they all turned off. You can also voice command navigation. So if you want to just enter in a destination, you want to just say, take me to whatever your destination is. You can do an address. So the voice command is really cool on this and works really well. It's almost like a Siri or Alexa type functionality that you have. You just push that in to do that on that scroll wheel. A couple functions that you might also use on the screen here. This car button here is how you get into all the car functions. You might use pedal and under controls is the top one. That's kind of the default. This is how you set your windshield wipers. Usually that's just going to be set to auto and it'll automatically come on, but here's where you can adjust your mirrors, your steering wheel. You can open the glove box here. Your lights, those are just set to auto if you want those. There is some adjustments you can make under the acceleration. Here's the charging screen. You'll probably use this a little bit just so you can see how much you paid for your last supercharging session, how much you want to charge at your destination amperage wise, and then you can set and adjust the charging limit right here. I really wouldn't mess with the autopilot screen. Locks, lights, display. So there's a lot of stuff in here. A lot of this stuff you're not going to use if you're just using the car temporarily or for a short amount of time. Some of the other things you might want to use, this little 3 button here opens up a sub menu, and you have got some other options here. A couple of those icons are saved right here. For example, I keep the camera right here if you ever want to just pull the camera up just to look out. You can do this while you're driving too, which is nice. This is your entertainment button. This is the streaming service. This car has free data plan, so this Slacker radio streaming service is cool because you can really type in any kind of genre of music. It can play, and you have unlimited skips. You just skip when you have those songs on. You can skip them, and your volume up and down. So it's got a really cool streaming service. There is a theater. If you're sitting at a supercharger, you can go under you just hit this 3 button here, go into theater, and you can log in. You can watch YouTube, TikTok, Hulu, Netflix. So it's kind of cool that you can play something. This can only be done while you're parked. So you need to be in park. You can't stream media while you're driving, unfortunately. And then the only other thing you might want to use, there is a browser on here, so you can search, you can just pull up websites. Now to open the front and rear trunk, rear trunk, you can do it from right here. You can also do it from the app. You just pop that. So you just go to touch open, that pops the front open. You open it up. You have to manually close it down. Same with the rear trunk. You pop the rear trunk open, and you have to lift it up and then close it back down. This car doesn't have automated or automatic up or down front or rear trunks. You got to manually do those. But it does give you some nice storage in the front or the rear. So here in the car, you do have a console storage here under the armrest. This is the J1772 plug. This would be used if you're going to use public charging that uses this type of plug. There's an adapter that's needed sometimes to plug into those public chargers. That's under there. Tesla includes these with all their cars, so that way that you have access to there. There's some storage under there. And you got your cup holders here. You do have, this is a wireless charging pad, but if you don't have, like, some of my phones have the case that doesn't allow wireless charging, so you can just unplug right here, and then plug in a USB. This is just USB-A charging right here, so you can just plug in a charger cord right there, have it dangled up here, and just plug your phone in. And you do have your hazards right here, reading lights. This is a manually adjusting mirror here. So everything else is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The cruise control autopilot is probably is one of the cool features of this car. So just double click down when you're on the freeway. It's going to steer. It's going to stay in the lane. It's going to adaptive cruise to the car in front of you. Here's your blinker right here on this side. Blinker left or right, it'll change the lane. Here's how you activate this is the windshield wipers. If you just press that in once, they'll wipe there, but then you get a little screen right here that you can adjust them manually, have them on different levels, and then you can do auto. You push that in all the way, it will spray. So there's 2 levels of that button there, and this is the high and low beams as well. So that's kind of the basic operations of this car. Pretty straightforward. Really, the charging is the big difference. So as long as you get the charging down, the easiest way to do road trips is you just navigate to your destination, and this will tell you when and where you need to charge and for how long along the Supercharger network. That's the easiest way to do it instead of trying to plan it yourself. So do that with the navigation. You just type in here. The cool thing is you can type in all of this while you're driving. This isn't locked when you're driving, which is cool. Or you just push this button and you can just say the address or say the location, and it'll search that. You can click on the result. So it's pretty cool. So that is the Tesla Model 3. This is a great car. This is a great road trip car. This one's rear-wheel drive. It's a long-range version, so this is getting around 295 miles of range is kind of the stated range right now. If you're looking for your first Tesla, this would be a great car to have because it's got a lot of great functionality. It's got the latest tech. It's got the full self-driving cameras, all the hardware needed for that. But these are also very affordable right now. You can get them used. This is 2018. But guys, thanks for watching the video. If you have any other tips, feel free to leave them down below. Hopefully this was helpful. Leave your comment down below, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.